Welcome everyone to Total War Pharaoh Early Access. In this series of videos, we'll be going over all of the new units Pharaoh is bringing, broken down by the regional native units recruitable by all factions, provided they own territory in that area, and the faction units unique to the individual playable factions in-game. To make things easy to locate, all native unit regions will have their own video and will be sorted into a playlist, and all faction units will be grouped by their overall cultural alignment, Egyptian, Canaanite, and Hittite, and they'll also have their own playlist once the second video for each is uploaded. If there are any changes made to overall stats and abilities, I will do my best to add those in a pinned comment in this video, that way it's easy to compare exactly what is different going forward. We'll be finally arriving in Hattusa this episode and going over the Lowlands and Isuwa units that you'll be able to acquire from these regions on the map. These are going to be the starting native units for your campaign playing as Karunta, and they're going to be bringing some scary armor to the fight, as well as some very heavily armored Hittite chariots. They're going to bring most fights to a close with their terrifying charge. The Hittite forces are almost always going to be a terrifying foe to face, simply due to the sheer amount of armor they bring, and these guys are going to be no different. But we'll start off with the negatives, firstly being a lack of mobility and stamina. All that heavy armor does actually come with a major downside. Your troops are going to get tired quite quickly while maneuvering and fighting, and they are going to be very slow getting around the battlefield and moving around at all that metal. You'll really want to make use of these speedier, expendable units to tie up or harass your foe while the armored legion moves in for the kill, as you have no elite or medium tier light units of any kind. The Lowlands and Isuwa are also going to suffer from a lack of decent range units, with their highest ranged archers maxing out at a pitiful 160 range, which is about the average for tier 1 units elsewhere. Even their slingers suffer from less range than normal at 210, and next to no armor, making you much more reliant on your chariots and heavy infantry to win the day. They also suffer from a lack of overall armor piercing damage, with all of that coming from either your tier 1 militia or the halfway split you get with axemen. Your Hittite chariots will deliver some impressive damage even to heavy armor, but only if that unit is completely focused elsewhere, as heavy units tend to shrug off charges from chariots, even while not fully braced. The Lowlands only have the single javelin unit for a dedicated piercing, which is a very strong option, but it is still the only true dedicated piercing damage you have available. Onward to their positives, which I'll do my best to boil down to the most important. The Hittites tend to come with far more upsides than down, just due to their tankiness. Add anything else on top of that, things start to get a bit crazy. Anyways, we'll start off with the fact that all of these units outside of tier 1 are going to be very heavily armored, and also bringing medium shields to block 45% missile fire, with the exception of the two most heavy units, who have the full 65% missile block Chad shields. With good positioning and use of stances, you'll be nigh impervious to missile fire, and you'll find you'll halt most enemy battle charges, even made by the most elite chariot commanders. You're also going to have very elite axe and shield units, that will often slice right through armored shield walls, and will easily decimate most Egyptian defensive lines, due to the sheer mismatch in armor and piercing capabilities. So while you'll struggle a bit against other heavy armor, with no two-handed clubs or axes, the overall damage output on your axemen is quite good. All of your infantry that are not Isuan or Luwian are also going to have the Storm Warriors trait, which allows them to fight unhindered in the rain and thunderstorms that frequent the area, making it extremely dangerous for any foreign invaders to risk an attack on Hadi directly. Very heavily armored Anatolian chariots are going to absolutely devastate archer lines, and will often completely rout a unit of infantry if they get a rear or side charge into them at max speed. Being a heavy class chariot, they have the most armor, charge bonus, and a weight of any of the chariots, so they'll be able to punch right through an unbraced line, and will be much harder for your foes to bog down in blobs of infantry. I will say that with only 16 models and only marginally better stats than either the Egyptian or Canaanite chariots, the Anatolian and Hittite chariots in general need a bit of a bump in their charge bonus, overall damage, and armor, at a cost of maybe a bit more speed. The chariots from the Hittite lands were known to be very large, heavily armored, and much slower than their Egyptian rivals, utilized more as a true shock cavalry to smash weaker flanks and chase off missile troops, unlike the light skirmish chariots of Egypt. Overall, the Isuwa and Lowlands units are going to be an absolute terror on the battlefield, but their heavy armor will come at a cost to mobility and stamina. Let me know in the comments below how you think these soldiers stack up to the others we've covered so far, but I'm out of time for today. We'll go ahead and have the units and their stat cards roll on through, but I have been Space Wizard Total War. Remember to leave a like for the like god and a sub for the sub thought. I'll see you all in the next one.